All right. I was just letting the rest of you guys, rest of your colleagues know that I'll be looking to start a YouTube channel just to give you guys access to the lectures, um, so that we don't fall behind. That's the main reason, so that we don't fall behind. Because the reality is, obviously, as you guys know, we don't have as many face-to-face sessions together. So the onus is on you. But I'm sure that's nothing new, because last year that was pretty much your experience, right? Yeah. So as we highlighted, we spoke a little bit about the role of a financial manager, and in a nutshell, it's really just planning, managing, and allocating funds. All right. I like to look at finance as the application of accounting. Okay. Accounting, what are we doing? We're just recording the movement of cash in and out of a business. Okay. Here we're actually saying, okay, based on how much money we can generate, what are we going to do with it? What's the most effective way of using that money? All right. And so forth, so forth, so forth. All right. The objective of a business. All right. Somebody tell me, what is the main goal of why we are actually participating in business? Why did we open up an alcohol business? To make money. To make money. Okay. There are a whole lot of other things that we can obviously engage in, such as what do they call it? Where you help the community. CSI, what do they call it? Corporate, social. Yeah, okay. So yeah, you could offer people bursaries, all sorts of things, but the main objective is to maximize shareholder wealth, to make money. Okay, and as a financial manager, there are two key things that you need to obviously be aware of in relation to that. There's obviously profit maximization. Okay, so that's profit, as you guys know. I'm sure we've all seen an income statement at this point, right? For what else do they call it? Statement of comprehensive income and yada 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 yada. Right? Profit and loss. Right? At the bottom of that is profit, your bottom line. Okay? So obviously, as a financial manager, we're trying to maximize that. We're trying to have as much profit as possible. I was listening to the news the other day, and Spur, I know we all know Spur, that restaurant with the many Indians and very colorful stuff in India. Their profits are down by 73%. Yep. Restaurant industry has taken a huge hit over the last quarter, right? Hospitality generally, all right? So, just, highlighting some practical um, situations in relation to profit. Um, so, yeah, they're sitting around and saying, okay, as I'm sure you guys have looked at other restaurants as well, there's a huge emphasis and focus on takeaways, just so that they can try and generate sales, all right? So that they can obviously meet their expenditure and obviously still kind of get some sort of return. Although if your profits are down 73%, chances are you're making a lot. Right? Chances are you're making a lot. Okay? But then let's move forward. The other thing that you are primarily focused on as a financial manager is wealth maximization. Now, wealth management. Okay. Who here has ever watched sports, which rappers, which actors, which celebrities, whoever is on YouTube or MTV, whoever watched the sport, watch it, something to that effect. Huh? You heard? That's a never, never, you don't need to know. Wow. I think you're a I think you got it. I think I studied before. It's sad. Hey, there you go. There you go. Tell it. Right? Okay, so wealth at the end of the day is basically how you calculate wealth. Here's the formula. You're looking at your assets minus your liabilities. Okay? So when we say we're here to maximize wealth, what we're saying is we're trying to grow our assets. We're trying to grow our assets more than our liabilities. Okay? Because if you're growing your assets, sometimes, like you guys would know, you can finance your house, buy it, go to the bank and say, I want to buy a house, and they'll give you the money. But can you see you've created a liability on what you're talking about? So can you see you haven't increased your wealth? You see? Right? So when we say we want to increase wealth, we need our assets to be growing faster than our liabilities if we have to actually put out any liability. Okay? Right. Now when it comes to wealth maximization, one of the ways that companies will usually measure this is by looking at the share price. This is obviously assuming that your business is listed on the share exchange. Okay? Right. So those are the two key things that you're trying to achieve as a financial manager. You're trying to make sure that you are making profit. Okay. So I'm sure the people at Spur are stressing right now. Okay. The financial managers there are stressing right now. Okay. Unfortunately. But yeah, that's the reality. And then, okay. So here they're just saying a financial manager manages the monetary affairs. Okay. This we are obviously aware of at this point. Okay, and don't worry about writing stuff down because, as you know, the slides are already on VC Learn. Okay, but if that's the way you learn, then it's also perfectly fine. No worries. Okay. And also, guys, if you have any questions at any point in time, or thoughts for that matter, please feel free to ask. Okay, I just want to quickly check something. Okay, great. Okay, right. So, yeah, the primary focus is on acquisition, financing, and management of assets. Okay, obviously to maximize wealth of the shareholders. Okay. All right. A financial manager should have a sound understanding of the business and take into account all the possible financial consequences of making business decisions. So, for instance, if we do decide to take out a loan to buy our premises where we actually execute business, right? We need to assess to say, okay, what would happen if we actually are not generating money as much as we would like? If we're not selling as much alcohol as we anticipate, what would happen? All right, we need to consider the consequences of that decision. If we're obviously not making sales, will we be able to make our rent? And if we are able to make our rent, for how long will we be able to do so? Okay, before we obviously then have to call up the bank and say, look, we cannot afford this, and we'd actually like to sell the property. All right. The scope of the role of the financial manager typically depends on the size of the business. So basically, if your business is very small, then you would typically you would wear a lot of hats. In other words, you wouldn't just focus on finance per se, you would probably do a little bit more than that. Okay? And vice versa. In the bigger corporation, your role would be more specific and tailored to certain activities or responsibilities. All right, and then here they just say the primary responsibilities common to all financial managers roles include financial planning and analysis. Okay, investment decisions. All right, and then financing decisions. Okay, if they ask you for the core responsibilities or primary responsibilities, those are the three things they're asking. Okay, then you can start to try and see me other things after you said those things. Okay? Right. Now, other responsibilities. These are the other things I want to see you start to spin in. cash management, okay, relationship management, okay, and we'll see why we say that. Dividend decisions, risk management. Guys, they like this theory questions, okay? So do make sure that you, and remember, test one is on which unit? Who was with me? 1 and 2. So you know that somewhere you could typically get a question like this, okay? Right. Right, then the role of planning. So here now they're talking to planning. All right, financial planning and analysis compares two elements. Okay, forecasting and budget. Okay, so this is the first element. Remember in planning, what are we doing? What's planning all about? When we say in terms of finance, what are we actually doing? If you are a financial manager, you plan your resources, in other words, your money. How are you going to do so? Will you do so just out of the top of your mind, or do you need to actually have some documents in front of us? Yes? Yes? What type of plan do you do on the board? A budget. Yes. 100%. Thank you for that, right? Okay. So we, in our planning, we need to forecast, and yes, the forecasting is what you're saying, where we look at previous years. And we use previous years so that we can then say what is likely to happen next month or next year or 6 months from now, etc. That's the forecasting taking place, looking at the past to determine the likely future. Emphasis on likely because you could have a COVID situation, something nobody planned for, and that's obviously the most okay? Right. So I don't want to read all this stuff because I think you guys should jump into that. I feel prefer you guys engaging with me, all right? And then obviously us guiding each other. But you can see the stuff that's highlighted is the core stuff that you need to obviously begin to wrap your mind around, all right? So financial forecast and budgets enable financial managers to obviously know how much funds are available, all right? And future funding requirements. Okay, it's not enough to also just to know how much you have, you need to know how much we are going to need in the future in order to make our event. All right. Also, we need to know, okay, fine, if this is how much money we have and this is how much money we will need, we need to also say, okay, our sales, we need to grow our sales. Okay? We need to grow our sales. Or we need to make sure that we continue to sell this amount of alcohol. Because we're something. Alright, if we continue to sell at this stage, then it's okay, we'll be able to manage our costs. Okay? Now, what do you think? Why would you just want to manage our costs? Sometimes you might be in an environment where growth might not actually be possible. So, much like now, for you to say, I'd like to sell more than what you are selling in 2019, even as an alcohol business, kind of likely because obviously, right now, this is the climate we are in, people don't have as much disposable income. Right? People love alcohol, but at the end of the day, you still, some people might still need to buy napkins. Some people might still need to pay rent. And guess what? They're not getting paid as much as they were getting paid in 2019. Because the reality is, some companies are saying, look, we don't want to find you guys a way to go. So what we'd rather do is we'd rather say, look, we'll pay you 50%. Also, we're not generating as much money as you pay. You can keep your job, but they're paying you 60%. So obviously that's going to affect, the brandy, and the whiskey, and the whatever other beverages that you have produced, and that's where something something more affordable, something more accommodative of your budget. Okay? So that's the reality. Okay? And then economic environment. All right? We need to create a budget to accommodate. I think we've spoken quite a bit about that. Capital investment requirements. Okay? We may need to invest in a printer, all right, computers for the staff, okay, because the ones that we have been using every now and again, you need to obviously update your computers and things to that effect. Alright, so they no longer, I've forgotten the word, there's a nice word for it. But yeah, that's it. Yes. And then future commitments and resources, yes, and then evaluate performances of the parties. Alright, so you can also use it for evaluation. So what's important is how you say. Okay, are you here for finance? Okay, I have this thing somewhere. Mm, okay, cool. Right. So I see it's like 2 minutes to the break. So I think let's just see here. Let's just quickly wrap up these two slides. Yeah. Okay. So we were here. All right. So what's important is that in business, when it comes to the budget, there's 3 times in the year that we develop a budget. The first time, all right. Now this is in your financial year. Okay. When we get to the end of a financial year, we will probably create a budget for the following financial year. Does that make sense? So this is speaking to in the financial year. All right. So the first time in the financial year that we create a budget is when we're 3 months into the year. Okay. And we basically look at the first 3 months of that financial year and we say, how did things go? And then we project for the remaining 9 months. Does that make sense? Then the next time is when we have had 6 months of this financial year. So we have 6 months of actual data, actual financial data. What actually happened in this financial year? 6 months of that. Then we say, okay, let's budget for the remaining 6 months of our financial year. Then the third time is now when we have 3 months remaining and we have 9 months of actual data. Okay? Now, obviously, budget, whenever we talk about budget, we talk about planning. All right? What do we anticipate will happen? What do we actually need? What are our financial requirements? Okay? But now we know that what happens is the planning and analysis. Now, analysis is basically saying what actually did happen in comparison to our budget. Okay? You guys will learn a bit more about this in 2D, where we do variance. And variance is typically just saying what we thought would happen, budget, versus what actually happened. What's the difference between the two? All right, and that's where your analysis is taking place. She spent more than we gave her, or than we planned. Why? Why did you spend more? You like things. That's your job. All right. So we need to analyze that. We need to justify what exactly happened. Could be that material actually went up, so there was nothing she could do about it. Could be that she didn't actually assess all the suppliers and find out who was who was cheaper. Okay, all that needs to be evaluated. Okay, right. Move on to our final slide before we take a break. So I think I pretty much spoke to this. Um, it's not enough to obviously plan the budget. All right. We also need to control. When we start to see she's spending more than we anticipated for the few things she's done, we need to say, whoa, let's pause. All right, we need to actually do something about it. We don't wait until the end and say, oh, we just spent a whole lot of more money than we anticipated. All right, so that's what control is really all about. All right, so we're constantly comparing. All right, not only in terms of our planned budget and what actually happened, but also in terms of, right, so we're an alcohol company, let's go back there. So we're hunters, we Heineken. We need to understand what is Heineken doing, all right? How are they financially performing? Are they doing what? We're operating in the same economic environment. Why are they doing what they're doing first? Or vice versa, all right? So that we can reduce trade. Because we're both alcohol, right, or alcohol companies, right? There shouldn't be such a huge discrepancy. And obviously, the fact that we operate within the same industry means that their opportunities are also our opportunities. Their threats are also our threats. All right. So you're constantly looking at your competitors. All right. Because there's a lot you can obviously learn from them. Okay. So the comparison doesn't just stick to what's happening within our company and what we think we can do. It also extends to the rest of the industry. Okay. That said, let's take our break and then let's resume at 3 part 2.